time with us. Teen thugs running wild. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, criminals aren't prosecuted. When you make excuses for thug behavior, when you teach kids that it's cool to disrespect law enforcement, even spit at them, when parents aren't parenting, what do you get? A scene that's becoming all too familiar. A mob of teens going absolutely wild in D.C. They're violently attacking each other at a Navy Yard Chipotle. Not what other patrons thought they were getting with their burrito bowls, believe me. This was extra spicy. So when the furniture started flying, people were actually trapped inside that establishment. Now, let's remind everyone that 25 members of the National Guard, President Trump often invokes this, are still patrolling in D.C. I saw several of them walking together on 14th Street the weekend before last, said hi to them, but they can't be everywhere, obviously. Now, recall that there were swarms of teens in D.C. in the same area in both March and in April. Motor City was revved up this past weekend, too, where a so-called teen takeover involved around 500 teens. Now, this followed another teen hellscape scenario last month where things spiraled very quickly. So what do authorities do? What can they do? What are they doing about this? Now, when pressed, Democrat Detroit Mayor Mary Sheffield claimed to be taking it seriously.
We are going to continue to push enforcement and accountability. I want to be very clear that while this administration is creating safe spaces and investing in prevention, we equally are promoting accountability and enforcement, and we will not tolerate violence. We will not tolerate what we saw this weekend, and we will continue to push for parental responsibility enforcement in our curfew.
All right, nice words. Love the language about safe spaces. No safe spaces for the people who are actually law-abiding. But the D.C. U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro, had the right approach today. You got to get tough, and you got to get tough fast.
This terrorizing is going to end. These are not kids being kids. This is criminal conduct. A social media click is not worth a criminal record. And we will make sure that you have a criminal record. And if you think that being a teen gives you a pass to terrorize businesses and neighborhoods, you're about to find out otherwise.
Love her. Arrests, prosecutions, and convictions of the organizers and the bad actors, all of that has to happen. And if Pirro has her way, parents, yeah, they could be on the hook as well.
What we're seeing increasingly across the district is not only unacceptable, it is violent, it is dangerous, and it is illegal. And I am here to tell you it is going to stop. And parents, I'm talking about you now. We're looking at the parents to make sure that they understand that they are responsible for the upheaval that is going on in this district that is impacting everyone who lives here.
Now, apparently the parents of the Chipotle teens didn't hear what she said on Friday.
Starting today, my office will aggressively prosecute parents under D.C.'s curfew law. Penalty is up to 6 months imprisonment. So if the evidence shows the parent knew or should have known or permitted or failed to prevent participation, we're going to charge them. And if you drop your kid off and you fail to supervise them or you let them skip school to join the chaos, you are going to face fines, court-ordered classes, and possible jail time.
Yeah, jail time for parents. Then who takes care of the kids? But, you know, her point is well taken. Of course, D.C. juries, as we know, are a problem here. But the prosecutions have to happen nonetheless. Now, these mobs usually gather after being alerted by a social media post. Then it's all off to the races. And as usual, most of these big problems happen in cities run by liberal politicians who are more worried about offending community activists and Al Sharpton than solving the crime problem. So when multiple shootings involving teens over the weekend happened in the blue city of Austin, Texas, the Democrat mayor decided to explain how random it all was.
2 times they fired at a firehouse and struck a truck into apartment buildings, where officers then had to go door to door, ensuring that everyone inside those homes were safe, and they did that. Resources were immediately called in to assist patrol, and we started to make connections and identify those similarities, and then realized that the series of stolen vehicles were involved.
As a police chief, obviously, but it was a weak response. Similar to what we heard back in April from another Blue City mayor after a teen mob rampaged through Chicago. Back then, Brandon Johnson reported that there were credible reports of a teen trend forming in Hyde Park. Teen trend. So that's zero leadership. It's zero recognition of why this keeps happening and how to stop it. And in large part, this is the legacy of the way Democrats and a few weak-kneed Republicans handled the so-called Summer of Love in 2020. Remember, police were villainized as racist thugs. Vandalism and crime was left unprosecuted. In fact, in some cases, it was almost justified. Democrats prostrated themselves to the woke gods, and in the end, $1 to $2 billion in damages nationwide, and at least 25 individuals were killed. Nearly 1,500 businesses damaged in Minneapolis alone. And it's still not really recovered there. Those hurt worst, of course, were the most disadvantaged. But the race hustlers, they whip people up into a frenzy instead of working peacefully for legislative changes. This was all in the wake of George Floyd. Now, all of this was seen by our young people. They were 6 years younger back then. But the anti-police propaganda continued to be fed to them in schools, sometimes in the pulpit, but all across the culture, in Hollywood, online. Now, none of this helped. It made an already very difficult situation in certain inner-city environments even more volatile. And now here we are. So common sense responses and painful consequences have to follow. Curfews are not racist. Neither are shopping mall rules prohibiting unaccompanied teens from gathering at certain times. So parents, pastors, it's time to step up. And politicians, either empower your prosecutors and your police or step aside. Do what we know works before summer temperatures and tempers really heat up. And that's The Angle.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.